we go, everybody. Welcome back to Breaking Barriers Podcast, Season 5, Episode 4. Joined today with Xavier Lamar, Dorian Withrow, and my main man, Romair Parrett. It's good to see you, Ro. Glad we finally got you on the podcast. Truly excited for the conversation we're going to have today. And I'm going to kick it over to Xavier and Dorian to get us started with the conversation.
All right, so I want to know. Tell me a little bit.
Right for it.
Tell me a little bit about your background, like just from age 0 to now.
Age 0 to now, it's a long time.
Ain't that long?
No, but I grew up on the east side. I'm 37 years old, so I spent most of my life on the east side. Well, all of my life on the east side. Grew up in a 2-parent household, mother and father. Got a sister, older sister, younger brother. So my childhood was pretty much like everybody else's for the most part. Playing basketball, working a little bit when I was younger. I didn't work too much, but I had to pay my cell phone bill, stuff like that. But other than that, it was basketball and sports. Never got in too much trouble. That's pretty much the gist of it from my childhood to now. But now it's adulthood.
Well known in the town.
Some would say.
Definitely. Facebook celebrity over there.
Oh, man. I don't like that conversation.
Yeah, we'll stay away from that one.
All right, so I heard you got a lot of jobs, or you had a lot of jobs, right? So I want to know, what was your first job and go up until now?
The first job?
You testing that man memory over there.
First job, I remember the first job. The first job was Merit Summer Youth. What was it called? Clarkson Center. And it's pretty much just, from what I remember, it was just pretty much like a summer camp. And did a lot of things, field trips, workshops, academics. That's as much as I can remember about that. And after that, it was McDonald's on Bailey in Genesee. Probably the worst one right now.
Yeah,
but,
hands down.
I worked there for about a year while I was in high school. I started in 99. 99 is when I got that job. So I worked that for about a year, and it was fun actually. I met a lot of people there, a lot of free food. And after that, I really don't know where I went after that. I worked at Tops for a day, believe it or not. I think I was 17, 16 when I worked at Tops. And I got hired to be a cart boy. I remember that. I got hired to be a cart boy. And at that age, it's like, once I get hired and you tell me what I need to do, it's like, that's all I want to do. I don't want to do nothing else. So it's like, they hired me to be a cart boy, and it was in the summer. I remember it. So like I said, I love playing basketball. So I didn't want to work. I wanted to play basketball. I'd go to the Turner Carroll, St. Peter Claver,
Peter
Boys
Claver,
and Girls Club, Kim Bailey. So having a job wasn't what I wanted to do. So I worked at Tops and as a cart boy. So I came to work one day, a bunch of carts in the parking lot. So in the summer, so I'm pushing carts. Next thing you know, I hear, I don't know if they said my name or not, but they said, let's just say they said my name, come to aisle 5, we got to clean up. So I get to aisle 5. It was dog food and something else, but it was all over the floor.
Dang.
So I think I don't even think I cleaned it up. I seen it, went back to park, pushed two more carts in the parking lot, and I left. I just walked off the job. And I went to Kim Bailey right after. I remember like it was yesterday. I said, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So, that was one of my jobs. Anything after that, I probably really don't remember. I can't remember anything after that. But the most recently, I did NFTA, drove for the Metro bus, left there, went to corrections, and now I'm a police officer.
So we got to dig into them last 3 a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was it like working for Metro? Because you drove the buses, right?
Yeah.
Just what was that like? What kind of routes did you have? Did you have some of the school time routes? And
Believe it or not, I didn't get any school time routes until the end of my time there. The beginning was fun because I tried to get in Metro for about 3 years. Some people don't know what it's like to get in some of these jobs. I think you got to have special skills and stuff like that. You got to take a test to get in there, written test. And mostly all my family worked for Metro. You know, they're telling me about the overtime, telling me about, it's easy, this and that. So I wanted to get in there. So I took the test. I failed it. And believe it or not, they make you wait 6 months to reapply for the job. So I failed it, reapplied in 6 months, came back again, failed it again by a couple points. And then I went back a third time. So like I said, it took me pretty much 3 years to get in there. And, once I got in there, it was fun. Like, driving up and down these roads, like I said, I was started on Niagara, and I grew up on the east side, so the west side is like a whole different ball game for me. So it's exciting seeing new parts of the city, dealing with different people. So, that was fun, but, you get a lot of rude passengers. Like, you don't understand how some of these jobs could test your ability to deal with people.
I feel so. I know, yeah.
You get a bunch of different people, a bunch of different languages. People want to get on the bus for free, and they got policies where you can't turn anybody down. Believe it or not, so they want to get on the bus and they say, "Oh, I don't got no money." It's like you can't tell them to get off, so they just ride your bus for free, and people take advantage of that. So that was a rough part. And
oh, that's crazy! I never do that. I done seen people get kicked off the bus before.
Yeah, so that's a rough part. But Metro is cool. It's a great job, great benefits. Took care of me and my son. Anything hospital or anything, it's all under my insurance. No co-pays. So that was a good part of Metro.
So talk about the transition from Metro into corrections, because that's 2 different worlds.
Like I said, believe it or not, I believe everything happened for a reason, to be honest, because each job made me realize that it was prepping me for the next one. Dealing with people. I'm not gonna say I'm not a people person, but you've been knowing me for a while.
You definitely a people person.
I'm not a people person when it comes to communication. I like to keep my mouth shut. People might gravitate towards that, or I might come off like I'm just laid back. So dealing with people is hard, real hard. People that you're not used to, total strangers. So dealing with Metro and customers getting on the bus, prep me for the corrections. Even though you think like, oh, it's 2 different worlds. It is, but at the same time, believe it or not, I think the people in the jail are more polite than the people that was probably getting on the bus.
I mean, I would be too if you had a gun.
There's no guns in corrections. There's no guns inside. We have, I don't even think we had.
Nightsticks?
Yeah, we didn't have nightsticks.
Okay. Well, you in the position of authority.
You got keys. That's all you got. You got keys and a radio and pepper spray. Well, for some of them inmates, this pepper spray is like they're used to it.
Yeah, they're immune to it.
Yeah, so you need pepper spray and about 5 other officers in there. So, but yeah, I think it prepped me for dealing with people and communicating with people, and it's a sit down. Both of them were sit down jobs. Inside the jail it's long days. You working 8 hours, but it's 8 hours with no phone. You can't bring magazines in. Can't bring, certain foods in. It has to be see-through. And they start implementing a bunch of rules. You got to have a see-through lunch bag so everybody can see what you're bringing. So I go sit down at my desk, and inmates like, oh, I see you got this type of juice. You must be from the hood, because you can only get that at a bodega. What? Like, oh, I had a brownie in like 15 years. Like, chew gum. Like, you start looking like, where am I at right now? So yeah, it's a big transition, but it'll make you appreciate things a lot more.
What was the hardest part about working in corrections, especially being a male of color, and those institutions tend to be places where a lot of individuals that look like us wind up being because of one thing or another. So what was it like for you to have to work in that type of environment?
The hardest part for me was adapting to knowing when you're being taken advantage of, and knowing just kind of trying to figure out things, because you got to figure out things like this. They can train you as much as they want to, but with these type of jobs, you have to learn on your own. They can train you for 6 months, but when you walk in there, it's a whole different ball game, because we got trained for 2.5 months. But within that 2.5 months, you're not in the inside of a jail. You're in a classroom. You know what I mean? So they give you one tour, and that's like 2 weeks before you graduate. So you basically do 7 weeks of classroom training. Then they walk you through the jail or whatever jail they pick. And they say, okay, we're going to take y'all in there and just show y'all around. And when you walk through those doors, it's like a whole new world. It's like the way they living in there and just how they look at you. Because no matter what, especially being a black man, when you walking in there, first thing they want to call you is a sellout. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to adapt with that. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, for me, it's like I wanted to try to prove myself that I wasn't like other officers. So trying to balance those two was rough. So like I said, you walk in those doors and, when they lock the doors, they lock the doors. You don't even get keys to certain areas. So you stuck with a radio until, till whatever happens. You got to wait for the next officer or this person to open the door. So you got to figure out a way to maintain whatever's going on.
That can be some scary. You can put yourself in some scary situations in there.
Yeah. And like I said, for most of us, we never been inside a jail before. We've seen movies and stuff like that, and you'd be like, oh, I don't want to go to jail, or, that look like it's uncomfortable. But when you really get in there, it's like, yeah, I can't be here. Like, they took us to the yard, and the yard is crazy. Like, it's maybe, at max, it's maybe 15 officers on the yard with about 400 inmates. Wow. When you walk in the yard, the walls is, 50 feet high. So, it's no way out for anybody. So, anything going in that yard, they're going to lock the yard down, and there's 15 officers with 400 inmates. So, y'all can figure out what will happen in there if something went bad. So, you got to be built for something like that. Not even built for. I'm not going to say it. You can't be built for that. You just got to put it in God's hands for the most part.
Yeah, not the job for me, because like you said, they put you in the classroom, train you for 2 months, but that's not gonna prepare you for those minute to minute, day to day situations. Because working in a place like that, like you said, every day is gonna be different. Mm-hmm. You never know. It's not like, all right, I'm going to McDonald's. I know I'm gonna flip this burger for this amount of time, and it's gonna be done. Put it on this bun, wrap it up, send it down the line. Yeah. It ain't like that every day. Nah. Like corrections. All right. I know Xavier dying to get to the next career choice that you made. So you went from NFTA to corrections, and corrections to Buffalo Police Department. Mm-hmm. So we got to talk about that, and I'll let Xavier kind of jump in there.
So what was first I'll ask, what was the transition like getting into the Buffalo Police?
The transition was what do you mean as far as the process from beginning to end?
Yeah, the process of getting in.
It's pretty much the same. You go through fitness tests, which was that was definitely different, because for correction, I feel like anybody can do it.
Oh yeah,
like it's stepping up a couple stairs, dragging a imaginary dummy that's weighed like 110 pounds. Mm-hmm. It's not rough at all. But for the Buffalo Police, it was a lot of running and just basically a lot of fitness. Some people think that you look at somebody and think they're in shape, and it's definitely not that. You have to be mentally prepared and physically prepared to do the job. So the training was a lot different. But everything else, the background process is a little bit more, not extensive, but they want to do it with a fine comb. They want to make sure that they try to get, the best person for the job. You know what I mean? They have to do a lot of different testings and clearances, stuff like that. But the process is similar, but it's some differences.
All right. What about once you were actually a Buffalo police officer, how was that cultural environment? You know, because we all know, being a black male as a police officer, you're different in the crowd. But did you feel like you were different all that much in like being in the being a part of the department, or was it all like were you able to just adapt to it?
For me, I was able to adapt to it, but like I said, with any job that you go to, you're gonna have to adapt in some ways. But for me, it was like I said, I came from corrections, so it was a little easier for me, and that's why I said every job prepared me for the next one. But yeah, I think that you just gotta learn how to adapt to it and be open minded.
Yeah,
because it's gonna be people that look at you different. You're gonna feel different working around different people. People that may not think that you fit for the job. So, you got to deal with that type of stuff.
I feel you. And, over this past year, of course, with all the BML protests and like just the narrative around the police, how do you handle that like in your daily life when you're going out on the job?
Like I said before, I try to prove myself to be different. In the beginning, that was the way that I felt worked for me. But just having conversations with people, you know what I mean? Because once you got that uniform on, they look at you totally different.
Absolutely.
No matter whether you black, white, Puerto Rican, they're gonna say you blue now. So they think that you're one of them. So you don't care about nothing that I have going on, how I feel, this and that. So you're dealing with that as soon as you show up to any call. You know what I mean? They look at you different. They don't think you're here to help you. They think that you're here to take somebody away or ruin their day, stuff like that. So, like I said, just communicating with them and you can't take everything personal.
Yeah.
With the job, like you have to give them the opportunity to express how they feel sometimes, and then that's when you talk to them and let them know what you're here for, just how different you are. You're not here to ruin their day. You're here to try to help. It's not trying to ruin your day. I'm trying to help you. So I'll allow you to talk, and I'll talk back, and then we can figure it out from there.
What are some common misconceptions you have of, like you've had people talk about, or maybe it was just in a room, you've been around conversation, like that's just totally not true. Like what are some of those things that you've come across?
What are some of the things?
Misconceptions about police.
That, like I said, that we're here to ruin your day, or why do officers do this, or why do officers do that? For the most part, I like to explain to people why we do what we do. Because at the end of the day, I'm still a human being. Once I take the uniform off, they say, oh, you still a cop? Yeah, I'm still a cop, but I'm still human also. You know what I mean? So I just try to explain to them that as best as I can, even my friends, like I try to let them know why we do what we do. You know what I mean? To protect ourselves and protect other people. You know what I mean? Because I'm in the room with a lot of conversations now where, they know I'm an officer, so the conversations changes now, but they also want to pick my brain because they know I'm a genuine person. I'm not going to give them an answer that a police answer. I'm going to give them a real answer. And a lot of people call me with questions, and I give them the real answer. So, yeah, like I said, I just try to let them know why we do what we do. And that's because we have families to make it back to, and we have a job to do at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Just like everybody got a job, we have a job to do. So, like I said, I just try to communicate with people and let them know that I'm trying to think of a situation where a question that I always get. Let's just use traffic stops, for instance. People think that when anybody drives by and they see a police car and they got a car pulled over, the first thing they roll down the window, why'd you leave them alone? You wasn't even here for the initial incident, but you're telling me to leave them alone. They could have just robbed a bank, and that person has no idea, but they just see a police car and they just feel like we're doing something wrong. So, but that's the stereotype they have on police officers right now.
The narrative, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like this person may have just ran a light and almost hit a kid, but they're worried about why we have them pulled over. So I just, you know what I mean? You got to let that go. But for the person that's you have pulled over, like I said, you speak to them politely. You know what I mean? You don't, even if they're going to have an attitude. Nobody likes being pulled over. You know, we all been pulled over before. Yeah. So, you know, they're going to have an attitude. But you can let them know why you pulled them over. That's the first thing you want to do. Let them know why you pulled them over, and then go through your process. Because every time it's not going to be a ticket. You know what I mean? You just advising them on what they did was wrong, and they can go about their day. It's up to your discretion whether you want to give them a ticket or not. You know what I mean? So, but that's just the scenario I was using for now. But it's a lot of different questions that, you know, I've been in the room with, and I try to give an honest answer about it.
No, bro, you know, I've known you for a super long time. Like, we've known each other since we was teenagers, which is crazy. Like, 20 years now, which that's really crazy to think about. And I've seen you in action while you're working, you know, patrolling. And if I'm not mistaken, I think one of the areas that you're actually assigned to is like your neighborhood that you grew up in, right?
Yeah.
So what is that like for you, actually protecting and serving in the area where you grew up at? Because everybody know you around there.
That's a great question, because I started in Delta District, which is the Hurdle District.
Okay.
So when that was my first stop, and I was happy I was over there, because that's where I wanted to be, because I didn't want to be on the east side where I grew up at, because I know too many people, and that's everybody's. Most all cops don't want to be where they grew up at. But like, I started over there, and I got back to the east side probably right after I got done training. So at first I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it started to grow on me, and I started to realize, once again, everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? A lot of people know me over there, so it changes the outlook on officers now, because I'm here and I'm easier to talk to, because they've been seeing me for the last 25, 30 years, you know, and they also proud of me. So it's it's easier to talk to the adults, you know, the kids. They more I don't know the word to use right now, but they like to see, you know, black officers, you know, because they're not used to it. So the conversation with me might be different from somebody else, and, you know, it's easier on me to be the having a moment,
the person that's kind of alleviate the situation.
Yeah, like, I'm bridging the gap pretty much.
Okay,
you know what I mean? They'll walk up to me before they walk up to somebody else, just because they know my face from the area.
Right.
So, like I said, I didn't feel comfortable at first, but it started to grow on me. You know, I got family over there, so I'm able to check on them. My dad, he's dealing with, you know, health issues, so, you know, I'm able to check on him. My son's school is over there, so it all worked out. But it definitely is a different feeling to patrolling where you grow up at, and make it easier to make the area better.
Why do you feel like it's you don't want to go back to where, you know, your home area, you know, like, why?
Because, you know, you got friends. You know, don't get me wrong, I have a job to do, but it's hard. You don't want to arrest somebody that you grew up with, or you don't want to see somebody that you grew up with in a situation where, you know, they're in the hospital or worse. So saying that type of stuff, and also my family, I don't, you know, because like I said, we are human. So at the end of the day, we're seeing stuff for the first time, because we haven't always been cops. You know what I mean? So we seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It just, you don't want to see some of the things that we see, especially when it's somebody close to you. You know what I mean? And like I said, once again, you'll be dealing with people that you've been friends with, and they're looking at you like you're doing something wrong when it's my job. You know what I mean? So now I might lose a friend or lose somebody that I was cool with, because I have to do my job.
Right.
But most of my friends that I grew up with understand that, and they respect it, and that changes their outlook on police officers, to where they may have been against police officers, saying all type of crazy stuff, and now that you have a friend that's a police officer or a family member, it's like, okay, well, he's not one of those guys, or he's not this guy, or you know what I mean, and it just start a domino effect of making the area better.
Do you feel like cops should go back to their communities more, or do you think it's like a taboo?
It all depends. Like I said, because you have to have the right mentality to do it. You can't just be in a community like, oh, I grew up here, and now you want to give everybody a break, or you know what I mean. So if you're gonna do the right thing in your community, yeah, you should go back and want to patrol your area, because you want more kids to see that it's not a bad job. It's not wrong to be a police officer. It's a job. You know what I mean? So you want to be that change to influence other black males to do the right thing. It's not nothing wrong with having a job, providing for your family, and making the city better.
What's one of the and I know some certain things you can talk about, certain things that you just can't talk about just because of the nature of your job, right? Mm-hmm. What's been one of the toughest things that you had to witness, or one of the toughest scenes that you had to arrive on? Because I know I've spoken to other officers, which you and I both know, and they talked about situations where they pulled up on the scene and saw a young man that looks like us lose their life. And just, I know one person in particular who we always had this conversation. It's like they've, had to see this hundreds and hundreds of times where, a young male has lost their life, especially at the hands of gun violence. So, like, for you, what's one of the toughest situations that you've had to just witness that, like, really as an officer and as a, human being, kind of tugged at your heartstrings?
That's a 2-answer question for me. It's tough seeing any young man or person lose their life, you know what I mean? So, but the toughest part about it is, having to look around, because once something happens, the crowd starts to get bigger and bigger by the minute. Mm-hmm. And you see so many people out there that you may know, want answers for why something is happening, and you can't give them those answers because that's not part of your job. Your job pretty much is to control the scene,
secure the parameter
for that instance. So, you want to give people answers, and you want to, let people know things, but you can't, because it's not your job, for one. That's somebody else's job, and there's still investigations going on. So, you have to, like I said, just do your job and console them in some type of way. So, for me, I may go over to them and tell them, I'll do what I can to try to get you informed as soon as I can, and pass it off to the next person who's higher up, who's designed for that job. Mm-hmm. But the second answer to that question is kids. That's a rough part. That's probably the toughest part of the job for me. And when I say kids, I mean, infants, anybody under, let's just say, the age of 13. You know what I mean? Every day you deal with, kids, whether it's how they're growing up in the household, seeing certain things in the household, or being around, domestic violence, or just living environments. That's rough for me, because I have a son, and I have nephews and little cousins that so that's a soft spot for me. And you have to see these kids going through situations where the parents are arguing, or the parents are getting physical in front of kids. So that's the toughest part of the job for me, because no kid should see that stuff or be around that stuff, because it's going to affect them sooner or later. You know what I mean? So just saying that is definitely a soft spot for me.
Now, Ro, I know you mentioned your son, and I know you're an amazing father. I know the time that you put in regards to that aspect of your life. We've had conversations just about fatherhood, and now we on the other side of that, being dads and stuff. How do you think your son views you? Because obviously he knows you're a police officer. He might not know the day-to-day, all the intimate details of what that looks like. But what do you think the impact of you being a police officer and just being the man that you are is going to have on him as he grows up?
I think it's gonna have a huge impact, and it's already having an impact because, like I said, just being a father, like they look up to us. Being a father is rewarding, and especially for black males, it's not enough fathers around, and it's not enough role models around for these younger kids to look up to. So they're growing up thinking that something is normal that they see on TV or out in the streets when that shouldn't be normal. Yeah. So the effect it has on him, I think now at 6 years old, he knows that I'm a police officer. He knows that, it's bad guys and this and that. But like I showed up to his career day twice, and just hearing him say, that's my daddy in the front of the classroom is like, it make you want to cry because it's like, that's how it should be. And just knowing, my background, my father was an amazing provider, amazing. And he was there when, sometimes, but that helped me be a better father and, because he wasn't around as much as I wanted him to be around. So I passed that off on my son to where now I'm around and that's what he's used to. That's the norm. So that trickles down, and now when he grows up, he's going to do that same thing, hopefully. So I think that's real important, and that's the influence that I think all this has on him. And, he loves being around. I take him everywhere.
He
do drop him off sometimes because I do need a break, but I try to take him everywhere with me because, whether it be the gym, whether it be sporting events, to the store, it doesn't matter. Like, he's with me. So if you see me, you're going to see him most of the time. And, that's normal for him now. So if I go 3 days missing, he's going to be wondering where I'm at. It's a lot of kids growing up when I see their dad for a week and they not even asking. So, that's something I think is real important when you have children.
Word. Oh, I thought you was about to jump in there. You was grabbing that mic.
He looked like he ready.
Oh, he always ready.
I want to know, like, what are some, like, fatherhood, you say you had to work through things on a new job, like you had to learn new stuff. So, like, as a father, what did you have to pick up, and what did you, like, I could have did that better, and as you, like, growing, how did that process?
I mean, I don't think you learn every day, like Daniel, pretty sure he knows, like, you learn every day, it's nothing that, there's no, like my mom would say, there's no handbook when it comes to being a parent. Like, you just have to learn each day. I'm still learning. He's 6 years old, you know what I mean? So, but I think everything, no matter whether it's taking him more places, being more in touch with him, like I said, I feel bad. Even though people compliment me and tell me I'm a good father, they don't see when I'm at home. When I'm sitting on the couch and I'm having my phone in my hand or I'm watching TV and he playing by himself, you know what I mean? So sometimes I look at him and I feel bad. Like, it's like, I need to get on the floor with him and play, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel bad myself because I feel like you've been a bad dad because you're not getting on the floor playing with your son. It's like, so like each thing you be like, I could do that better. So just being more active with him when we're in the house and just trying to do more of the things that he want to do. Because he's 6 years old, he's getting older, so he want to do a lot of things that, I'm 37, so like getting on the floor is hard for me. and staying there for a long amount of time, I can't. That's like the mothers; they're good with that. The mothers is good with playing with kids and having little toys, dressing up, but the fathers, like, I'd rather take them to a basketball game and take them outside somewhere. But the in-house stuff that's where I can get better at.
What are some activities you do with your son? Like on your days off and you got him just to yourself and you got some?
You go to the mall, walk around the mall. Summertime, we go to the parks. Ice cream is always good. Anything to tire him out. Like go to the movies.
You had put him in some leagues too, right?
Yeah. He played soccer. He played t-ball. He was in karate. He was basketball. Haven't made it to football yet. His mom don't want him to play football. Concussions and injuries. I want him to toughen up a little bit, so I want to get him in some of those activities. But yeah, like anything that I find to do, that's what we do. We try to go to events, whether it's Shay's, cartoon characters. He's out of the cartoons, Coco Melon and all that. He's out of that. These kids is tied up in the phones nowadays, just like us. We tied up in the iPads, stuff like that. So he's content with just doing that type of stuff. But we play Uno. We do a whole bunch of stuff. But like I said, each time I want to do something more. You know what I mean? Try to find something different for him to do. So that's those are the activities that we normally do.
What type of legacy do you want to leave for your son? Like the day when you leave this world, like what do you want your son to remember the most about you?
That's a great question because I say this in my head all the time, and it kind of rolls over into my career and why I do what I do. I don't want to be known as a police officer. You know what I mean? Because there's been thousands of police officers before me, so I want myself to be known as the police officer that did something different. Like, once my career is over, I'll get a plaque or, a retirement party or something like that. But I want my legacy to be something different. Like, oh, he really was in touch with the community, or he really was in touch with, his son or his family, and, just somebody to look up to. You know what I mean? I don't want to be known as just a person that just lived, just like you. You do a lot of things in the community. You touch a lot of people when it comes to interaction and the youth and everything like that. So, I think everybody should want their legacy to be more than just a person that's working a 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like everybody should have a legacy to where more people would just talk about just the one thing you did. It should be, multiple things that you did to help other people and just stuff like that. So that's what I want my legacy to be, that my son to say, my dad was a police officer and he did this too, and he did this and he did this. You know what I mean? And it, like I said, it trickled down to where he want to do the next level. He want to go higher than what I went. So that's the legacy I want to leave.
Yo, Ro, that's a great lead in. And the legacy that you leaving for Junior and what you're doing with your foundation, we didn't even touch on that, but
I know,
that's
right?
a part of
I was sitting here thinking about that, like, what am I here for again?
right? But that's a part of your legacy piece. Why don't you talk about Reach for Row, the Reach for Row Foundation, and what you've been doing with that?
Well, the backstory to it is, I started about right after my mom passed in 2018, but it wasn't called the Reach for Row Foundation. It wasn't anything. It was just me trying to be me and look out for other people. So I started, I think, like I said, my mom passed in March.
But there's a direct correlation there, right? In regards to, it was something to kind of celebrate your mom and honor her in a way too, right?
So she passed in March, April, May, June. So June 11th is her birthday. So on her birthday, my mom isn't here anymore. So she was always the type that, where's my birthday gift for? You got a couple of dollars for me, this and that. So now that my mom wasn't here, it's like the money that I would have been giving her, I want to give to somebody else, to celebrate her, because if she was here, she would get it. Like, it's no doubt in my mind she would get it. So on her birthday, you said I had a bad memory, so I forgot already. But to fast forward on Mother's Day of that year, or the next year, whatever one it was, I reached out on Facebook to find out, just who the single mothers was that may have needed help or may have needed a little bit of assistance with anything that they had going on. So, I got a bunch of comments and people tagging single mothers, and the one that got the most tags was the one that I pretty much, I'm not going to say sponsored, but I reached out to her and just showed appreciation. I took her flowers, some wine, some other stuff. I won't get too specific, but just made her feel appreciated, because like I said, our mother is our first love. So I just felt I needed to reach out to a single mother who just needed help or just needed a break. So I reached out to Her name was Dana, and I believe she had five boys, all teenagers.
Ooh, wee.
You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if she's doing it on her own, but she got the most tags, and people, really gravitated towards her. So like I said, I reached out to her and took her balloons and everything, and it was called my mom's name was Beecher Stroud, so I called it the Beecher Stroud giveaway, I believe. So that's how it started, and from then on, I think I can't remember what was after that, but after that, the following year on Christmas is when I did my first Christmas giveaway, where I reached out on social media again, and a lot of people support what I was doing. They know that I'm a genuine person, so they know that anything that they were donating was going to actually go to something good. So I received a bunch of donations, and I sponsored 3 families, single moms. One was in shelter. The other one, her grandmother had died, and she had moved back. She was living out of town somewhere, but she had to move back to Buffalo, and she didn't have a place to stay. So sponsored her and another family. So they all had about 2 or 3 kids, and they just, some people don't want to ask for help even when they need it. So I reached out to them and got their kids gifts, Christmas gifts, got them gifts, coats, because it was wintertime, obviously, and they had a nice Christmas, and they loved it. They thanked me, and it was from then on, I just knew I had to do something else. So that's, fast forward, it was last year, that's when I came up with the name. I was just in bed one night, just tossing and turning. I'm like, I need to name this something.
Yeah.
And that's when I came up with the name Reach for Row Foundation. And from then on, I kind of pushed it out there on social media. People started gravitating towards it, and I'm like, wow, like, I knew people liked what I was doing, and I got a lot of friends, but I didn't expect as much feedback as I was getting. And they just gravitated towards it, and the rest is history. And now I'm here, and I'm trying to make it bigger and bigger each year. So that's pretty much how I got started, and hopefully it get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, we know you just, was that August, you did the back to school piece?
Yeah. I did the back to school.
Shout out to Mackie.
Yeah.
Raise your shirt.
Lamar. I did the back to school. But I need to backtrack because I did the
piece for your
Mother's
coworker
Day,
too.
the Mother's Day brunch, where all the single mothers was at Buffalo Soul, which is my sister's restaurant, and they had free brunch. The tickets was, I think it wasn't no tickets. It was just a free brunch.
Yeah, and then you did the dad's piece.
The who?
The dad's piece with the.
Oh yeah, the Father's Day photo shoot. See, my memory is bad, but yeah, the Father's Day. That right there. That right there probably was the most special for me, because obviously I'm a father, and just because I had so many guys show up, and so many guys that was just happy, that came up to me like, man, thank you. Like, we never get anything.
Never.
Ever. And like I said, when I put it together, I knew that they would appreciate it, but having a guy come up to you, really thank you, like, guys have a lot of pride. They just show up and just leave, but they actually came up to me like, I appreciate it. We never get anything, this and that, man. I love what you're doing, this and that. So it made me feel great to see all the fathers that came out with the kids, even if they didn't have their kids with them, they just had a place to go. Mothers, they get pampered, they get shows, they get everything on Mother's Day. You know what I mean? And, not trying to be funny, but, I love my black women. I do. But they will bash men on social media so bad on Father's Day. It's sickening. You know what I mean? So me being a father, again, I take it personal. So I'm like, I got to find a way to give back to the dads. You know what I mean? Because females, they get on there and I'm the mom and the dad. Like, we don't need that. Just tell the fathers Happy Father's Day and leave it alone.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, when I did that this year, or was that last year, I probably seen one male bashing stat on Facebook when it came to Father's Day. I promise you. And usually my timeline is filled with men bashing stats on Father's Day. But so I'm not gonna take credit for it, but I feel like I brought the energy to where even the females were happy that I did the Father's Day photo shoot, because females know they have great men. It just didn't work out. That's all. It just didn't work out between y'all. But it's great fathers out here that do their job, and I just think that need to be appreciated. So, those type of events, I love to do them, and I can't wait to do the next one.
And you had, one real big one. There was an incident earlier this year, right, where one of your coworkers was involved in a serious car accident. And it could have been you, if I remember correctly from a conversation we had. And I know, you took up a lot of donations and stuff for him through the foundation. So let's talk a little bit about that and why you did it.
Yeah, so my coworker, Officer John DeGrone, was in a car accident, and he was doing really bad. And it hit close to home because, I was directly behind him when he was in the accident. You know what I mean? And when you have this type of job where you're around somebody every single day, 5 days a week for 10 hours or 14 hours, you become family. So when it happened to him, the whole department kind of came together. You know what I mean? And I just feel like I needed to do something to contribute to his family. Just had a son. So, you know what I mean? He was in a tough position. And his girlfriend, which is his fiance now, was, she was down, obviously, and she was out of work. So, I just feel like I needed to help out because, that's my family pretty much. And it could have been me. And I would want somebody to look out for me and, show me that they care. Not that, money fixes everything, but, if he's not going to be working and his fiance is not going to be working, I know they got family, but, you want to lend a helping hand. So, I just got a bunch of donations. Once again, I was overwhelmed with the amount of donations I received because, money is tough for a lot of people.
Especially in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, middle of a pandemic when nobody's working and, people don't want to give up no money. I'm one of the cheapest people you might ever meet. So giving them money is hard. But, I had a lot of people reach out and donate. I don't even remember the specific number, but it was a lot of donations to people, to somebody that they have no idea who it was. They don't know him from a can of paint, but they know me. So through me, it made them feel like, okay, well, I know he's going to do something good with it, and I want to show my appreciation for him and, the police officers. Because a lot of people say they don't like police officers, but when something like that happens, and especially when it happened to somebody close to that, it's like you're going to be affected. So people that was close to me and knowing that it could have been me, I feel like that brought everything together. And that's what I mean by domino effects with anything. You know what I mean? You connect it to people from other people. So, that was pretty much it. And he's doing great now. They're engaged. Their son is doing great. And he's working on, getting himself healthy to where he can hopefully come back to the job. But, that was a proud moment for me. And he definitely appreciated it. And like I said, he helped a lot of people. Even after that, all the help he received, all the donation that he received, he gave back to the foundation. He gave back to, other people in need. So he's a great person. And his fiance, the whole family is a great, great family. So, he's doing good now.
Sweet. I'm going to kick it over to you guys before we go for any last things that you guys want to squeeze into the conversation before we do the Breaking Berries hot seat. We're going to put you on a hot seat.
Oh, man.
Rapid fire questions.
All right, so I wanna leave off with, how do you think, and you've brought some concepts up, but to merge the negativity and throw it away? Like, how do we, bring police and, the community, to a positive light, to a positive relationship?
I think what y'all doing right now, I'm glad I'm the first one to come in and give y'all some of the insight on what's going on. But I think just, like I said before, communication, talking to police officers, either on duty or off duty, you know what I mean? Being in the community, trying to invite them into different events and just picking their brains. Like I said, I'm an open book, and since I've been on the job, I'm going on 3 years on the job, and you won't believe how many times my phone rang with people with just random questions about, police or sitting down with people, talking to kids in schools. It's just, letting them know that it's a lot of great officers out here. I mean, that's one of the subjects I meant to touch on. Is like most of the officers are great people, but you forced to be a different person sometimes because they just don't like police officers. You just have to accept it. So you can try, and it's just going to be what it is. Hopefully I can reach people to where they can eventually get it, but just talking to them, not always looking for the negative and, being a police officer. So like I said, just ask them random questions and how the outlook is on our end, and then just, like I said, bridging the gap.
So my question, somewhat a follow-up to that, do you think are there possible reforms that we can make to police department, but for your experience, or do you think, for your experience, do you think that there's not that much, like, as far as policy reforms needed to the police department? I just want to get your perspective on it.
So you said policy reforms?
Yeah, like, do you think people has called for, like, various policy reforms to police during your experience? Like, do you think there's, like, are there any specific policy reforms that you think could be doable, or for the most part, the police department's there's not really much policy reforms that could be done? I just want to get your perspective.
That's kind of above my pay grade. Like, I really try to stay out of certain talks when it comes, because I'm not educated enough to give the right answer. But I just think that it's just working together. I think some of the policies that they try to push on to the department, like I said, it's too much one-sided for me. Like, I feel like they need to come together and understand there's a reason for everything. You know what I mean? It's a reason for why some policies are in place. And like I said, it's above my pay grade. So, I really don't know how to answer that question. But I just think it's all in communication. Some policies are just not going to change. You know what I mean? They're changing now, and it's like sometimes it's tougher to do the job now. It used to be tough from what I heard, but it's tougher to do it now, to where it's like, you just have to kind of get in where you fit in and just be careful with certain things. But the policy thing, I don't really have a real answer for that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so this brings us to our segment. You should be familiar with this because we always watching Sports Center and stuff, man. Remember they used to do kind of like the hot seat segment on during Sports Center. They would basically ask you some questions, and the first thing coming to your mind is basically your response. So we're gonna do that with you. We'll ask you a couple of questions.
Okay.
All right. So I know you're a sports person, so I already know the answer to this question. LeBron, Jordan, or Kobe?
LeBron.
Yeah, knew that. We done had this conversation before, so we only have to go ahead.
I don't know. I'm kind of
getting your heart broken.
Yeah, I mean, he ain't looking too good this year. I'll tell you that one. He ain't looking like the king. He looking like the washed up king this year. All right. Best wings in Buffalo.
I can't even spit a rapid answer for that one.
Give me your top 5 places then. That's easier. Let you off the hook.
I would have to go, Franco's. Or am I thinking about pizza? No, that's pizza. You catch me. The Groove wings.
Okay.
The Groove.
You struggling over there with this one, dude. You a foodie, man.
Duff's. The Groove, Duff's. What's the name of the other one? Let's just say Franco's. I'm struggling for real. 33.
Okay.
And this question was hard.
I could tell.
This question was hard. My mama wings. That's what I say. She going first too.
All right. So now you know the pizza question is coming.
Oh yeah.
So top pizza spot.
Franco's, Imperial. Franco's, Imperial. Bocce's.
That's a perfect 3.
You said 3 or 5?
No, I was going to ask him for your top one. You gave me 3
Oh,
months.
okay, we good now.
You good? You good there?
That's a perfect
I
3.
agree with you
We
on
love
the
those.
pizza piece. The wings, I was kind of like, where he going with
Yeah,
this one?
nah.
But no, Lennox shout out in there. Lennox.
I've never
got-
been there.
Dude, I keep telling you, got to go get the Korean
never been
barbecue
there.
wings from Lennox.
Oh, we going there.
No, I'm down. And then the honey Cajuns at Fat Cats.
Ooh, I forgot about
Amazing.
Fat Cats.
And I got to shout out to Rose. Rose got good wings too. All right. All right, where else we going? We did wings, we did pizza. Oh, what's your favorite place to visit?
Toronto.
Yeah.
You know all about that.
Yeah, we done had some Toronto trips. We ain't gonna talk about
We
that
ain't
on
gonna-
here.
we ain't gonna disclose that.
That's another podcast. All right. Your favorite vacation spot?
I just started traveling 4 years ago, so I'm gonna have to say Mexico. Mexico was great. My son was with me, so I couldn't enjoy too much, but yeah, Mexico. I gotta go back.
You still had a good time. I saw the photos.
Yeah, I gotta go back.
You still had a good time. All right. I gotta go in here because I think your memory loss is rubbing off on me. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, you know we gotta go back in time. You know you used to throw parties and stuff. So who's your who would you say does a great job throwing parties now in
Now?
Buffalo? Yeah, you know that was Roskino that used to throw those.
Now, I like Dennis Wilson events.
Upscale, classy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
upscale, classy, no drama.
All right. Favorite sports team? Yeah.
LeBron.
Basically anywhere LeBron go, right? That's crazy.
Oh,
It was Cleveland, then it was Miami. Now it's the Lakers.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Come on, man. Once Kobe retired, I was done with the Lakers.
So exactly my point.
No, let me back up. Once LeBron got to the Lakers, I was done with the Lakers.
That's sad.
I couldn't do it. You know, Steph my guy now, and they 18-2. They doing good.
oh wow.
All right. If you could pick someone to portray you in a movie, who would it be? And not your lookalike, because we know Omar Epps is your lookalike.
Trade me in the movie. These tough questions. I need somebody quiet, low key.
There's got to be somebody out there that when you think about you, that you see like, you know what, they could play me in a movie.
Man, you killing me.
Yo, we've never had somebody struggle with these questions like this.
Cause it's gotta be somebody low key, but they funny
Low key funny.
and they talk a lot. Sometimes I don't know. Give me one.
Oh shoot, I don't know.
It's gonna be a long podcast. If you keep asking me questions like this. I'll say Morris Chestnut, just for the ladies.
Oh man, Morris Chestnut. That's the best you can come up with. Yo, that dude ain't been. What's the last movie that dude been in anyway? It had to be what was it? It was the movie where he was like the boyfriend
All right, matter
to.
of fact, I'll take it back. Chris Tucker. We gonna go with Chris Tucker.
I could see that.
Chris Tucker.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, he done played some cops in movies too. All right. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington.
Freeman.
Morgan
How you
Freeman.
add?
Samuel Jackson.
I'm thinking you was gonna go with funny people. You just said Morgan Freeman. That threw
No,
me off.
I'm thinking about guys like black actors who like really been doing it for a while. So you got Sam Jackson, you got Morgan Freeman, Martin Will, Denzel.
Nobody touching Denzel.
Okay, let me ask you this. We're gonna flip this real quick. Is seeing that you're an officer, right? Is there a officer role in a movie that you would have loved to play?
Yeah.
And what role in a movie?
What was Blue Street?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a throwback. Y'all seen Blue Street before?
I have not seen.
That's
Blue
crazy.
Come on,
That's
man.
When
Please go.
You feel old because Oh, I can't have them conversations.
I'm gonna need you to go watch. You got to watch that this weekend.
Okay.
And we got to have a recap around it because Blue Streak was hilarious. And Martindale played cops on a bunch of movies. Yeah, the National Security, Blue Streak, Bad Boys, of course.
Yeah.
I can't believe you ain't say Bad Boys, but that would have been my pick. What? All right,
It's cliche.
man. Listen, Will was the Mike Lowry. That's my guy. All right, favorite podcast.
Breaking barriers.
Good answer. All right, best advice you ever
Real
received.
radio.
Roll radio.
Real radio coming next. You remember that?
Yeah. He's taking us down memory lane for real. Best advice you ever received.
Best advice I ever received. Be a man.
All right. What that mean? What does that even
It can
mean?
mean a lot of different things. That's the best part about it. Be a man. But I don't know. I don't know what that means. It just sounds good. It sounds great. It sounds great.
Yo, he wasn't ready for this. I swear he really wasn't ready for this.
I didn't think he was gonna challenge me on my answer.
Most slept on place in Buffalo to go.
Slept on place in Buffalo to go. You should have asked me these before we started.
That's why that's why you're on the
Slept
hot
on
seat.
place in Buffalo. I'm gonna say 33 because I never been there until recently, so I like that. It's a low key. I should have never said that because it's gonna be played and everybody gonna try to go now.
Yeah, you know that because everybody gonna watch this podcast because you on here. So now they're gonna be going there. You giving away all the spots. All right. Last two. Person that had the greatest impact on you growing up.
Soldier Boy. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I'm doing with you today.
My dad.
All right. I try to get him to be serious. He can't be serious for 1 minute.
You know I couldn't go the whole podcast without cracking jokes.
All right. Last one.
He did have the biggest comeback though.
Yeah, it's just dude, Soldier Boy.
He's the first one to have a podcast.
But Soldier Boy. All right. Greatest fear.
Greatest fear? Not seeing my son grow up. That's my greatest fear.
Well, we know you're gonna do that. You're gonna be here a long time. So God gonna protect you, continue to protect you. All right, so we're gonna go around and do last words because I know this has been a super long podcast, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Roll clown. Give y'all some last words. Anything y'all want to say to Ro, and then Ro, you get last word, and we're gonna close out, man.
All right, so I want to appreciate you for coming and talking, giving us some drops on the inside of what we don't hear about, what cops deal with, and the perspective from your side. So I think that's very informative and useful, and I hope people watching will take notes from it. Right.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time here. A lot of wisdom and insight you gave us on like policing and stuff like that. And I can definitely tell you're a really good officer, and I really appreciate having officers like you. I wish there could be more officers like you. I think if we had more people like you, I think the policing, like the state of policing, will always be a much better place. But I appreciate the things you're doing for the community, for the Reach for Row, and just keep up the good work.
Appreciate it.
That's what's up. Man, you like a brother to me, dog. I love you, man. I done watch you grow up. It's crazy. In a couple weeks I'll be 37, so right along with you. We done did a lot together, and I'm just proud of just honestly the man that you've become, and just everything that you're doing, man. So I respect it, and I love you, and I appreciate you coming on and just kicking it with us today, man.
Appreciate it.
So I'm gonna give you the last word, and I know you got another event coming up. So if you want to shout that out.
First of all, I love and appreciate you too. I appreciate the opportunity. Same thing to you. Great father, great role model, doing what you're doing with breaking barriers and all the other 1,000 things you got going on. But I appreciate you for that. And to you guys, I'm not sure how old y'all are, but y'all are doing great things. You know what I mean? At y'all age, I was not doing anything like this. You know what I mean? I could tell from y'all conversation and just y'all being here at whatever it's Army time. Oh my God, so I still can't read it, but I wouldn't be here at this time at y'all age. I either be playing video games, playing basketball, or just in the house doing nothing. You know what I mean? So I love to see, young black males doing what y'all doing. And I hope y'all keep that up. And because believe it or not, y'all role models too. No matter how old you are, you could be role models to somebody 30 years old, that's seeing y'all do what y'all do. So keep doing what y'all doing, and I appreciate y'all too. And the event I got, well, it's not an event, but I'm doing, once again, I'm doing my Christmas giveaway where I'm going to be, I'm going to find, once again, I had 3 families last year. So hopefully I can find 4 this year, and going to be giving gifts and tons and tons of gifts and, winter wear, clothes, everything to, 3 families, or I might do hospitals, wherever it's needed. That's pretty much, the things I do. I find out wherever it's needed, and I just help in that way. So that's what I got going on, and thank you for being a part of that, and assisting with helping me with that. And that's pretty much it. Anybody want to follow the Reach for Row Foundation page? It's Reach for Row Foundation 2, the number 2, and you can follow all the events and what I got going on through Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, or you can contact Daniel. He'll reach out to me and do that.
No doubt. We're plugging away over there, man.
Make sure y'all follow his Instagram page too.
Come on, here you go. All right, y'all. With that, it's a wrap. Breaking Barriers Podcast, Season 5, Episode 4. Shout out to Say Yes Buffalo, the Community Foundation for Greater Buffalo, the Yoshai Foundation. Make sure that you guys continue to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and make sure you follow us on all the major podcast streaming platforms. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Go Bills. We're going to get a big one against New England coming up.
Yeah,
y'all be safe. We out.